Welcome back to my series on Microsoft Excel. Today we are going to cover the following: formatting of cells or entire spreadsheets, and then secondly we are going to look at basic functions. It's going to be an introduction so that you can know how to use the built-in functions that Excel provides to do calculations for us. So the four functions that we're going to look at today is the sum, average, min, and max. The sum function, for example, calculates the sum of a total, and we have an example there. And the average calculates the average. Min function would return the smallest number within a specific range, and the max is the opposite. It will return a maximum value in a specific range. So let's bring up Excel, and I'm going to take you actually through the textbook. So if you want to follow, we're on page 227 of the Study Opportunities Grade 10 CAT textbook, second edition. So using formatting, a couple of things that I just want to take you through. Maybe the first thing is, how do I select a cell again? By simply clicking on the cell, and it becomes the active one, as I showed yesterday, by having bold, thick borders around it. If I want to select a number of cells, I can click on a cell and highlight them. If I want to highlight an entire column, I can click on the column number. If I want to highlight an entire row, I can select the row. If I want to select everything, I can press Ctrl A, or I can click on this little triangle here on the top. If I select that, I will also select the entire spreadsheet. If I want to apply any formatting on a specific cell or a specific range of cells, I have to select them first. So if I want to change the font of cell A, I select it, and now I can change the font of, for example, I can say Algerian. So if I type something in here now, look. But if I type something else in another cell, it will have different formatting in that cell. So let's have a look at the different things that we can do. So I can change the orientation or the alignment of this text by clicking the different options on our alignment group in the Home tab. You will notice that in our cell here, there are another set of 3 types of alignments. I'm going to make the row a little bit bigger so that you can see, because we can align this text not only left, center, right, but also bottom, middle, top. So the first 3 alignment settings will manipulate let me select it first, will manipulate the alignment top, middle, bottom, and the second set of 3 will do left, right, or left, center, right. So if I want it to be in the middle, I just have to select center and center over there, and we can align our text in that way. I can still indent my text just like I've done in Word. I can also change the text orientation with the icon over here. It has a little AB and a diagonal arrow. If I select that, I can select the rotation of the text. So if I select this and I select I don't know why this is not working now. I have to most probably select the text. Nope. or that's why I cannot orientate text differently if it has been center aligned. Okay, so if I select it now, I can change my text orientation. Right, so that's text orientation. And then I want to show you another thing. I've already introduced that in our previous video. If I enter my name over here, you can see that it goes over into the next cell, although it is only in D4. If I click on text wrap over here, the text will wrap. It will go into a new line. If I change the size of the column, you will see that it's still actually one line, but it wraps the text within that cell and enlarges the row height. Then what else I could do is, and I'm going to take the text wrapping out, if my text goes over one, I can actually merge these two cells. So to merge two cells or more, I highlight the ones that I want to merge, and then over here in the alignment group, I have a merge and center icon. If you click on the little drop down menu, you see there are 4 different options: merge and center. That will apply merging of cells as well as center alignment. Merge across will just merge, and then I can simply say merge cells. So let's choose the merge across one. You can see now this has become one cell. My active cell is now DE4. If I want to reverse this, I highlight it, and then I will simply select the Unmerge Cells option. A lot of these options can be found in our Format Cells dialog box. And how do we get there? I select the cell that I want to format. I right click on it, and then over here we have a Format Cells option. I'm going to click on that, and here, let me take this a bit across, we have our Format Cells dialog box. So we will cover number formats in our next video. Alignment, this is all the settings that we've looked at in our ribbon just now. Again, the text orientation, you can manually change the text orientation. You can even specify a specific degree of or angle in which the text must be displayed in the cell. Here we have our text alignment, horizontal as well as vertical. And then we have our text control, shrink to fit, so that will shrink the size of the text to fit the cell. So let's quickly, I'm going to apply that to my name. So over here you can see the font is Calibri 11. Now I'm going to right click on there. I'm going to select Format Cells. I'm going to bring that up, and I'm going to select Shrink to Fit, and I'm going to press OK. So you can see that the text was now made smaller to fit the cell. However, the font size is actually still 11. So if I would enlarge my column, the text will go back to its original font size. And I'm sharing this with you because in a previous exam, I've actually seen that question asked in a matric exam, to change, to make all text visible in the cell without enlarging the cell or using text wrap. So now you know as well. So format cell, and you have to tick the box shrink to fit, and then we can still merge. Font, very straightforward. You can change the font, the type or the style, the size, the color, etc. Borders will manipulate the border that is shown. So we have grid lines, but if I print them, they're actually not visible. But usually we don't really print, but it looks very neat if we add borders, and we can, just as we've done in Word, we can apply different kinds of borders, inside, outside, different thicknesses, etc. Then we have the fill options. We can fill or color our, we also sometimes call that shading. We can shade our cells different colors, for example, the headings or a result, to highlight that. And then protection, that is if you want to password protect your workbook, or protect it from any changes that somebody could make by mistake. All right, so let's take this out. Okay, another thing, or the next thing that I want to show you guys is the manipulation of the cell size. So you already seen me move and drag the column sizes on the side and the row ones in here. So if you take your mouse between the columns, it changes into an icon looking like this, and then you can drag it and drop it. We can also go to the right, and then we have a cells group in our ribbon home tab. So from here we can insert a row, we can delete a row. That is obviously only important once we've actually written text into our spreadsheet, and we want to add a row between text that we've entered already. Then we can use this, or we can simply right click on our row number and click on insert. But what I want to highlight is here the format icon. If you click on that, we have row height and we have column width. We also have things like rename sheet, move or copy sheet, and those are the things that we've looked at yesterday as well, at the bottom of the sheet where you can add more sheets and so on. So all these options are found under format. One thing that's maybe valuable to mention is the hide and unhide. So we can hide entire rows and entire columns. Maybe they're important for calculations that you want to do, but it's not really important for the end result. So you can hide and unhide them. Also sheets, entire worksheets within the workbook, you can hide. It's very easy to hide. So I can simply click on this and right click and say hide. So now E is hidden. So you can see it jumps from D to F. However, there is a cell. So you can, if you can see, if I take the mouse over between D and E now, it doesn't have a solid black line in the middle. It's got like two lines. And that means if I click, I can drag E open again. But sometimes I've maybe hidden too many, like this. I'm going to hide a whole range. I'm going to hide them. So now you can see between F and M, there's lots of, so you can individually unhide them, or I can simply select F and M, right click, and say unhide. And then it will unhide all of the cells or all of the columns that were in between those two columns. Okay, that's that, but let's go back to the row height. So I'm going to go back, format. Obviously I have to select a row or a column. Let's select this column or this cell. Format, row height, and somewhere, there we go. We have now our row height, which is by default at 15. If I make this 30, you will see that the row height of this row will now jump to twice the size, and the same is for the column width. So that's how you can manipulate and control the row height. So what I would like you to do you can pause the video and do activity 5. And then when you're done with that, you can continue watching the video, or you can, if you so choose, continue watching until the end, until I'm done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open a new workbook and introduce you to basic functions. So for basic functions to work, you would actually need some values that are in cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some marks over here. So I've got a name, I've got a surname, I've got mark for test 1, mark for test 2, and we have a total mark over here, and then we can say average mark over there. Okay, remember of the previous video, if you want to increase the column width to something so that the text will be shown in its entirety, you can double click on the between the rows, and it will actually make it fit. So here's our data. I'm just going to add a couple of names, and I'm just going to name them blah blah blah. So there's no need to actually be specific for now. I'm just going to do it like that. I'm going to add some marks, just like this, and I'm going to add marks. Well, it has to be, this guy is doing good. Oh, test 1 was great, test 2 was not so great. Okay, that's it. So now let's look at how we can do. So total mark would be this plus that. Yes. And then we should actually, if this would be a test out of 100, we must divide it by 2 still, because we have 2. But let's just sum it up as is. So 56 plus 46, so if we would do the maths, that would be 102. This one would be 187. But Excel has a function for us. So yesterday we looked at formulas. We could just add the 56 plus the 46, and it would result in the 102. But today I want to introduce you to those 4 functions that I've mentioned. So again, we have an equal sign that indicates that some form of calculation is following. And then we have the function. You can see that there's a number of functions that starts popping up when I start typing. So if I start typing and I see the function, I can double click on this, or simply press the tab key, and then it puts the parentheses, the open bracket, in for us already, and it says here what I need to do next. So in this case, I'm just going to highlight my cells. I want to add this range. So if I press enter now, it has 102. Another way of doing it, I can press sum and then select this one and press a semicolon in my case, and select the second number and press enter, and it will come to the same conclusion or result. So we can highlight a range or individual cells to use the sum function. Then if I want to apply this to the rest of my things, I can simply select it and put my cursor in the corner until it becomes a cross, a black cross like this, and then I can highlight or drag it down, and it will apply the function to every single cell. The average works very similar. I start typing average, and you can see now already my average function is first on the list, so I can press the tab key and Excel will complete the name. And now I can select again, just as I've done with sum. I highlight this, I press enter, and I can see my average mark is 51. Again, we can just drag this down and it will work out the average for all of them. Okay, I can over here, for example, I want the lowest value or mark, and I want the highest mark. I'm going to make this to fit, and the function that we can use here is min, and then I select the range that I want to apply that function for, and there 35 is our lowest. If I would change this 87 to 2, you can see it automatically changes the lowest mark to 2 as well. And then my highest mark would be a function called max, and I can highlight the same range and press enter, and voila, my highest mark would be 97. If I change that to 100, you can see it updates it as well. And that is it. Maybe another tip or trick that is worth mentioning is that we can use the function builder over here. So I'm going to delete my first function over there. I select the cell that I want to apply the function for, and I click on this little insert function button. So you can see there's somewhere my there we are. It just moved to the side. Okay, let's put this there. So over here I can type in the function that I'm looking for, sum, and I can press on go. There comes the sum function. I will highlight this, and now it actually gives you examples or descriptions of how this function actually works. That was an indication that second break is starting. All right, so number one, I can now highlight either this number, and I want number 2. I can select the second one. I can add more, or let me take this out. I can simply select the range as well and press OK, and you can see it now built the function for me. For the sum, average, min and max, the function builder itself is not really helpful because it is much quicker to type it quickly out, but there are functions in Excel where it is very much helpful to use the function builder. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful to you. See you or hear you tomorrow.